We're live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 301 of Hump Hangouts, where we teach you some Kung Fu moves to get your rankings up there, to your website up there in the search engines. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? You guys are doing great. Welcome to Hump Hangouts. Today is the 19th of August, and this is your weekly meeting for anything SEO and good stuff and marketing and everything that has to do with that related. So welcome to that. Before we dive into some of the good stuff that we have for today, just gonna go through the list of the awesome people that we have here on the call. What's up, Marco? How are you doing, man?
You see it. Don't let me tell you about it.
Groundhog Day.
About it. That's how it is, man. Groundhog Day. This is my life. I can't help it. And as I always say, don't hate the player. Hate the game. That's all I do is play the game. That's it. If you don't play the game like you should, then maybe you should start looking in the right place. Well, you're starting out in the right place. Hump Day Hangout. So here we go. But there you go. Come get some.
Let's go. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Yeah, like I'm looking jealous over there at Marcus' place. I don't know, like we had rains the last 2 days, so like not too excited here, but well, everything else is good. And actually, I'm a little bit excited, but I cannot talk too much about it because I've been working on something for Pofu. But I think you mentioned a couple things about that later.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, Bradley? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm just trying to do what Adam usually does and drop these links onto the chat box. But other than that, I'm good. Glad to be here.
Yeah. By the way, we're missing a core member of the team. In fact, we're not able to function. We're just basically barely scraping by, just because he's like out there running in the woods doing his stuff. So what's up, Adam? So what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 301. And we're going to be diving into questions soon. But before we go there, a couple of things. Number one, Pofu Live is coming in hot. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about getting that well on our way. It's going to be our third installment or third
live event. Although this one's not going to be in person now, which kind of
this is not live. So it's Pofu Live online. But if you want to go and get your virtual ticket, your live ticket to be attending to Pofu Live, go to pofulive.com. It's an event that we put every single year for the past 3 years. And it's been pretty awesome. People are getting a lot of stuff, usually stuff that we don't share anywhere else, just on Pofu Live. So go there, go grab your ticket. We're going to be doing some fun stuff for VIP ticket holders and all of that good stuff. So go to pofulive.com. And I believe that we have some sale happening right now in MGYB. Don't we, guys?
Yeah, and it's in celebration of National Potato Day.
There you go.
So I dropped the coupon code in the chat box below, but it's, if you go to mgyb.co, it's 25% off of RYS Drive Stacks for the next, I guess, 3 days. And the coupon code is Potato My Rankings, all one word. Potato My Rankings, all one word, is the coupon code. Will get you 25% off of RYS Drive Stacks.
There you go.
So use the potato gun.
Excuse me, the SEO Shield, which includes a drive stack, but it's the SEO Shield orders. That's what it's for. There
you go. Awesome. And by the way, Marco, do people need to buy right away? Like they can buy it right now and they need to submit the order right now? How is that working? They have a window so that they can submit. Basically, if somebody's watching this tomorrow and they want to take advantage of the offer, but they don't have data of their clients right away. What do you suggest?
Well, we understand that. We understand that people can't sometimes get the information in right away. We understand that people need time, right? For whatever reason it is. And maybe they just want to take advantage of the coupon. Well, that's fine. They can go ahead, buy, and then submit the information later. Now, the problem is if you wait too long, if you wait past 30 days, what we're going to do is we're simply going to refund you, because we can't let it sit there 5, 6, 7, 8 months until whatever it is that you decide to do. So get it, hold on to it, go ahead and take advantage of the offer so that the coupon doesn't expire, right? Because once it does, we can't give you the offer. and then gather the information. That's fine. Don't wait more than 30 days, because then we will refund you. No question. It gets done on auto. We know that if you don't submit your information within 30 days, you're likely not to do it, and we'll have to refund you anyway. So we might as well get rid of the problem to start with.
Gotcha. So people can buy today, take advantage of the coupon, and then you said, submit their details over the next 30 days, basically. That's awesome. All right, cool. So, and by the way, if you have more SEO needs, if you have more delivery needs, because you shouldn't be doing the grunt work, let us do it for you. Go to MGYB.co. We have that sale going on, but there's a lot of good stuff there. A lot of stuff that allegedly doesn't work, but the proof is in the pudding. We have a bunch of case studies there and more coming. So that's going to be pretty awesome as well.
Yep.
And anything that you guys want to add?
No, let's do this.
Let's do it. And actually, we ran over last week by like almost 10 minutes because I just lost track of time. So you guys are going to have to crack the whip on me today.
All right. I'll tell you.
I keep it tight. I've got an appointment actually I have to get to. So, all right. Let me grab the screen.
All right.
Sweet. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to start with Igor. Hey, Bradley and SM team, just got an email about Google changing the old GSites. Is it safe to follow to convert them to the new GSite? I've done about a dozen of them myself this week. Seriously, I haven't even had VAs doing it. Because I've been tightening up projects and stuff. And so I've just gone in and clicked the button and made sure everything came out okay. Marco, I know you had some comments about that. We chatted about this yesterday.
Yeah, Google is being really nice about it. They're giving us everything we need. They're just moving everything over for us. All you have to do is click. Yeah. That's it. I mean, how good is that? Doesn't get any better than that. Now, hang on a second. What people do have to be careful about is that it doesn't turn into a 302. So please monitor your URLs, right? Use a redirect checker every once in a while to see what it is that Google is doing it, because they get sneaky. Remember what they did with goo.gl.
Yeah.
Right? It was a 301, then without any warning, it turned into a 302. Then they offer us Firebase, which was a 302 that you had to turn into a 301. Got to be really careful. Google is really sneaky, right? They change other URLs from 301 to 302 from, from a meta refresh to a timed meta refresh, where then it's useless. So the only thing that I tell people is you got to be really careful. Keep track of your URLs. Keep checking them from time to time. And of course, don't you do it. Your time should be way more valuable than to be inserting the URLs into a checker to see if it's a 301 or a 302. You should have a VA doing all this menial work so you can concentrate on your business, growing your business, making more money. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was, well, a couple things. One, you brought up, you got to be careful with Google because they're tricky about how they'll change stuff and make them 302s without you even knowing.
Yep.
For example, with the old GSites, I don't know, I haven't even checked it on the new one yet. Once it's been converted to the new ones, but I can't imagine it would have changed. But if you left the trailing slash off of the end of the URL, then if you checked it in a redirect checker, it would 302 to the final URL with the trailing slash at the end of it. So like if you're looking at the home page of the GSite and you were building links to the URL without the trailing slash, then you were actually getting a 302 redirect to the home page, which I thought was crazy. But second of all, the new GSites are a lot like page builders are now. So they're like, modular and like kind of like a block editor, and it just is a lot more intuitive than the old funky GSites. And I don't know why I avoided them for so long, because it's actually a pretty good editor now, and it's a good interface. So, okay. Let's see. I lost my track of where I was. Let me try this again. It must have been from last week. Okay, so the next question was from, when building YouTube silos, how many videos should be in the silo to be impactful to move the needle? I know it depends on competition, but what should you start with? 5, 7, 50? And should we focus on building more in the silo or more silos? And if more silos, how many in the silo? I got a little bit of a headache from that question. It just depends on, how competitive the keyword is that you're trying to rank for. So whatever your top level keyword is, the top of silo keyword that you're trying to rank for, that's really going to be what determines how much depth you should add to it. Like how many videos, essentially, how many other keywords, variations, longer tailed versions, that sort of thing are you going to actually target within that particular silo. It's just like doing it on your website, right? It's the same principle. It's how much is it going to take? I can't tell you that because I don't know what keyword it is that you're targeting. I don't know what the competition looks like. It's going to take as many as it takes. So really just it's very much like doing a silo on your website. That's why we talk about theme mirroring and all that kind of stuff, because it's all the same. Creating a YouTube silo is the exact same structure, and it's the matter whether or not it ranks is going to depend on, you know, a lot of factors, not just the silo structure itself, but having additional keywords in there, more depth to that silo builds more relevancy, more topical relevancy, and there's more linking opportunities from within that silo as well. So it kind of helps to power up the entire silo, the whole playlist, if you're adding more videos that are relevant. Does that make sense? Anybody want to comment on that before I go to the second part of that?
Yeah, what you start with is more than one, right?
Absolutely.
And then it's just how far you need to go to get to where you want to be, period.
Yep. So how many is it going to take? As many as it takes. That was like a lot. We used to get questions all the time about syndication networks. How many posts do you think it's going to take for me to rank for whatever keyword?
Yep.
We'd always get the same answer: as many as it takes.
As many as it takes.
Yeah. So the next one is, should we focus on building more in the silo or more silos? And if more silos, no, remember, guys, keep it simple. You know, you can take a top level silo keyword and you can create a bunch of subcategories from very closely related keywords that are, you know, longer tailed versions or the next level down, so to speak, of that main keyword. But is it necessary to do so? That's the point. Like, again, I use this example more recently. You know, I'm pretty much all I'm doing now is tree service stuff for SEO and lead generation and that kind of stuff. And for the longest time, I've always built simple silo structure, at least for several years. I used to do complex silos, but I just got over doing that because most local type businesses don't need that. But and I don't know that you're targeting local, but I'm just using this as an example. I used to always silo with simple silo for the last few years with simple silo structure for tree service stuff, tree service being the primary keyword. So essentially the homepage, but then the silo structure would be tree trimming would be one silo. Another one would be tree removal. And then usually a third one, which would be additional services or arborist tree services. If it was a certified arborist on the, for the contractor that the site was for. And so I would have 3 silos on the site basically. But what I found was Google actually really considers tree trimming, tree removal, tree cutting, tree service. They're all synonyms. So I could probably, and I haven't tested it just yet. I've got a couple of projects that I'm waiting on some infrastructure to be built, and then I'm going to be testing that. But I could probably go with just one silo, essentially tree services. And because all that content is the same. However, I could create like essentially subcategories, which would have been the silos of what I've been doing, right? So tree removal, tree trimming, perhaps arborist services. But why overcomplicate things? Why make the build more complex? Why make the content, you know, the interlinking between pieces of content and everything more complex than it needs to be? If I could just have a flat site with one silo, tree services, and just have all the content, you know, properly structured and get the same results, why would I go through all of that? And so that my answer to you about the YouTube stuff is the same thing. I would rather focus on one silo and add more depth to it and have that whole silo be a lot more powerful than have a whole bunch of different silos with a bunch that are very, very specific, where it's kind of hard to get, you know, additional supporting. Now, if you've got a main category with a bunch of different subcategories and it's logical to do so, then I would add additional, you know, I'd create additional playlists. And don't forget that you can have one video in more than one playlist. So, I mean, if you have a kind of like a parent category silo, the video can be in that playlist, but then you could also have like subcategory silos or playlists that one, you know, the video can also be in one of those, if that makes sense. So, but just don't overcomplicate things is my point, especially when it comes to YouTube. It's really unnecessary. Anybody want to comment on that?
I totally agree.
Okay. Very good. And I think a lot of times we try to be smart as SEOs and try to, you know, well, if I get really creative with my silo structures, I can get better results. And it just ends up being a lot of unnecessary work. So just keep that in mind. Jason says, hey guys, I'm working on an e-commerce site and I'm hearing rumors that I need to set up sales tax for every state in the US if we sell something. Do you guys know how this would work with WooCommerce? I do not, because I don't do anything e-commerce related. Perhaps Marco might. Do you know anything about WooCommerce being in taxes and stuff?
I don't know. Like, I don't know
Yeah,
how.
I don't either.
Like, I have worked on WooCommerce websites, but that's not the part of my job that I do. The part of
Yeah.
what I do on that is I get traffic. The owner is kind of like the one in charge of all that, the guy in charge of the taxes. And I know on the land, like each state has separate rules, right? For buying and selling land, and how much is due at the closing. But that all gets done, it gets taken out of the total. When you close the deal, like you never see it because it's taken out. So like how much or whether each state is responsible, whether you're responsible for collecting taxes, what you need to do is go and contact the tax attorney and have them tell you, what it is that you're responsible for, whether it's each state, your state, what the rules are in each state, because only a tax attorney would be the one to answer that question properly. I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a tax expert by any means. So, try that. I can't really help with that.
Yeah, neither can I. I just don't do any sort of e-commerce stuff, so I couldn't help with that either. Sorry, Jason. Looks like Jason says he just joined the mastermind. That's awesome. So he says, by the way, welcome, Jason. He says, I have 5 websites that I need to do this syndication networks with. I need to do 2 of them as soon as possible. Well, I'll tell you what, as a mastermind member, you do get benefits, so contact support, make about, mgyb.co, right? So go to support@mgyb.co after you've placed your orders and, mention that you're new mastermind members and see if you can get 2 of them expedited. I don't know that we typically do that, but I know mastermind members do get benefits. So Marco, is that something that we can do, is try to get it pushed a little bit?
We have other mastermind members who also order. So how can we push everything?
Well, we can't. That's why I was asking. I said, if we can do something, we'll try to, but I don't know that we can. But what do you think?
I mean, if it's just syndication, if it's just branded networks, they get pushed out and they'll get delivered as soon as they're done.
Right? Well, order it now, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. Order right away. But we are improving the system. We're making everything better. We're making things better, right? We're training our team. We're trying to make things more fluid, speedier. So it's not as if we're just sitting there and not trying to make things better. We are.
There you go. And I know that you guys have been working hard on streamlining stuff and all that, so it will get better. Pablo says, hey guys, I'm still confused with correct structure for city pages post. Question 1 for now, top of silo on my money site is broad category without local modifiers. If I need to cover 2 or more counties, I need to make each county like a separate silo, or county can go after broad topic and link back to the main silo topic. Example, oh, this is one of those questions. Site/Miami or site/appraiser Miami. Based on this question, how would posting should look like? Okay. Pablo, I can tell you this, I cover how I reconcile those odd issues. I've talked about this many times, and I cover this extensively in the mastermind. I can't do it here. I can give you a very high overview, like conceptual overview of it, but I can't get into the nitty gritty because it's something that I only cover in our mastermind. But I use tags for creating location-based silos in a WordPress website. Okay, so I use the category structure for my topical silos, but then I use tags in a very specific way to create my location-based silos so that there's no conflicts with URLs or trying to share location-based subcategories across topical silos, or vice versa, topical silos across location-based categories. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I think you're talking about the oddities that occur with the URL conflicts that occur when you try to use the same subcategory across multiple categories, because it's going to automatically append like a -2, -3 for each time you duplicate that subcategory into another category. WordPress is going to automatically append to it like a -2, -3 because it has to have another permalink. And if that's what you're talking about, I learned 2 or 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago now, to build silo structure for location-based silos using tags. And it's a specific hierarchy, the way that I stack those tags and everything else. That's as far as I can tell you right now. The other way to do it was if you were going to, because if remember, if you're talking about complex silo structure, which you are in this case, right? Because you've got, you know, topical silos, and then you want to go sub silo from that, all right? So subcategories that you want to add additional content pages to, or even posts at that level, right? That can create some issues. That's why I recommend if you can get away with just doing a simple silo, then and using just the post name permalink structure, then you can stack, you know, you can cross things, subcategories into other categories and things where the URL isn't going to be displayed, and it shows as just domain.com/the post slug at that level, and that's okay. But again, so I mean, if you can get away with that, then that's the way that I would do it. But again, I can't talk specific. I can't show you the structure of how to do tag-based location silos or location silos using tags here on Hump Day Hangouts. I could talk about it in the mastermind though. But if you understand tags and how to use tag pages in WordPress, you ought to be able to figure it out, is my point. So you want to comment on that at all, Marco?
The only comment that I'm going to make is that there are things that we reserve for our paid groups only. And it's not fair for us to give it away here in a free group if people are paying for it. People are paying for all this information. So you people who are here free, although we try to answer as much as possible, what you do have to understand is that there's some things that we can't answer, but we can answer them in the paid groups. That's just the way it is. It's the way we've always done it. We have given people nearly 6 years of free information, actionable information. People have built businesses from the information we give away for free. So imagine what we give away in the free groups.
Yeah, or the paid group, you mean? But yeah, so Pablo, just to go back to your URL question here, see what I was talking about here is if you take a look at how you've got URL 1 versus URL 2, my point is if you've got like appraiser is like one of your services, and if appraiser, I don't know what you're in real estate or what, but let's just say real estate, and so one of your categories is appraiser, and maybe one of them is, you know, home inspections, right? Or yeah, something like that, right? Let's just say appraiser and inspectors. Let's just use that just to show 2 different service categories. If you were to try to duplicate Miami, originally, if you set it up as a subcategory as appraiser, then if you tried to create Miami subcategory in the inspectors category or home inspector category or home inspections category, however you name it, then you would end up having that weird URL structure. That said, it doesn't really matter if you're using the post name permalink structure because you don't see it unless you're looking at source code anyways. So it's not a big deal. But again, it creates some conflicts that I just don't like to try to live with when I'm building the site. It's not real clean to me that way. That's why I like to use tags. Now, I don't know if that was specifically your question, but that's the way I interpreted it. So next, he says, based on this, what should posting look like? For each county, it should be the same topic or keyword, but content should be rewritten, including local modifiers. Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. That's why I have my blogger actually create, when we're doing keyword plus location specific content, my blogger just creates or curates a blog post that is targeting something very closely related to that topic. It doesn't always necessarily have to be 100%. Then, but she, because I have one blogger that handles all of this stuff for me now because she's really good at it. She will curate stories that are topically relevant, as well as something about the local area that, you know, for the location modifier that we're targeting. And then there will be a paragraph at the bottom that has a strong call to action, and it has, you know, a strong mention of the product or the services that would pertain to what the theme of the post was about. So my point is, like, for example, most of the tree clients I have don't do landscaping work. However, landscaping is closely related to tree service stuff, right? And so because of that, a lot of times there will be blog posts that are written about a yard or keeping somebody's resident, you know, home's landscape beautiful or whatever. And then there will be a paragraph at the bottom about, you know, tree services, tree trimming, tree pruning, whatever, that will kind of tie that concept to the landscaping, right? And then we just optimize the SEO title for it, and then use the tag-based silos and all of that. And it works really, really well, especially when you use the the SEO shield in the GSite, and you learn how to push keyword relevancy through backlink profile to your GSite. So that's what I do. And so all of the content is unique because all of the blog posts, each blog post is unique because it's newly curated content from my blogger, which is why I like it, because it's all It's not, one of the problems, and I'm sure you are aware of this, Pablo, is when you only have a few services, how do you keep rewriting about that same service over and over and over again, right? It gets to be very difficult to do so. And that's why I kind of got away from trying to do it that way. And I just let my blogger kind of run away with it. And it creates over time, it might take a little bit more time to get the traction that I like. But once you do, you have this kind of broad width of topical relevancy to what your primary services are, if that makes sense. So that's what I do. If you don't have that ability yet for curating posts and that kind of stuff, then you can just rewrite stuff. I've talked about having like one article written about tree removal in my case, right? And then having that rewritten by 5 different as a rewrite project as opposed to a new writing project. It's a lot less expensive, and now I've got 6 versions of the original article. And so that's something that you could use if you're going to be reproducing keyword plus location across multiple locations. Does that make sense? I don't know if that really was clear or not. Do you have any other tricks for that?
No.
Okay. All right. And the second part of that I can't answer because that question went way too long anyway. So we're going to move on. If we have time, we'll come back to it. Ricky Bob, he says, we have a client that uses a subdomain for their blog. Their main site gets decent traffic, 50,000 per month. But the blog that is blog.example gets less than 1,000 per month. Okay. They are not going to change it to a subfolder anytime soon. I've recommended it, obviously. Any advice on what to do to boost the blog subdomain? They have a few dozen articles on there, and we are starting to work on the content consistency going forward now that we have our keyword research and recommendations thanks to MGYB. My suggestion would be, just start using the subdomain a lot more, right? Your syndication network should be attached to it. You should be blogging consistently. And that's essentially what I was just talking about in my previous reply or response to Pablo's question about over time, just that the blog will start to gain more traction. And you'll see in Search Console, especially as you publish more content, your total impression number will start to go way, way up because you'll start being recognized by Google for a lot more keyword combinations. So different types of search queries will give your site impressions. And then that's actually a really good content strategy to go in the Search Console and identify keywords that are relevant, like search queries that triggered an impression for your blog. Find those queries that are relevant that aren't ranking well yet, but that are close. Like, for example, maybe their position is somewhere between 11 and 20. Well, those are good keywords then to start optimizing for, producing more content for, linking back to the original piece of content, that kind of stuff to help try to boost those to page 1 so that you start getting more traffic. My point is, adding more content to the blog would be my first step. And then you could always do things like, paid traffic to some of the posts and then do remarketing so that you can always be bringing people back, which will probably get more visits to the blog, even repeat visits, which is really, really good for SEO also. So those would be my 2 recommendations. Any from you?
Yeah. The SEO shield, the SEO power shield, it's all part of the system. So it's not just getting the syndication properties. It's not just blogging. It's not just syndicating your content. It's powering up your shield. It's powering up your ad ID. It's powering up everything that has to do with your entity. It has to do with getting your schema out there. It has to do with whatever you need to do to make the content right. So link building comes into place. Embeds come into place. More link building, more embeds. Press releases, link building to press releases. Stack the press releases. If you're local, posting, stacking your posts, link building into your posts, local images. Guys, we've created a whole entire system for you to do this. We just can't give you the pieces here for free. I mean, we got to go back to that. You want the system. It's in the paid groups. It's in Semantic Mastery and the heavy hitter. Join Semantic Mastery, and you get a really good price for joining heavy hitter. But we can't give you everything. We'd love to, but then there would be no Semantic Mastery if we gave everything away for free. Right? The people who have to sit and think and do all of these things have to be able to make some kind of living, right? Some kind of money, get rewarded for all the effort that we put into doing all of this. So having said that, it's the system. Ads work perfectly well if you do them the way that we say do. Don't just go out and run any kind of ads that may or may not work. Use the system that we've set up to make the ads work. Use the system. We've created the system. We make everything available in MGYB.co. But if you get it without really understanding what it is that you're doing, then you're actually doing yourself I don't know, what can we call it? You're doing yourself more harm than good, because you're leaving so much power on the table, so much power that you could be using.
And that's a good point. You know, press releases. I showed this in our Facebook group, the SEO tutorials semantic mastery Facebook group. Somebody was asking a question about press releases. Well, it was more of a comment about how they read some article on some blog about how press releases don't work, and so they were just relaying that information. And there was started a discussion, a thread, and one of the arguments that the person that posted the question, or the statement really was stating, was, well, you guys are all saying they work, but I want to see proof, right? And so I just took a screenshot of Google Analytics of just one, you know, project that I'm working on that shows referral traffic, and it showed Press Advantage, right, which is the press releases that we primarily use. And it showed for a 30-day period, I think it was 287 or 267 visits directly from Press Advantage. So don't discredit that either. Like, again, and that's all part of what we teach, is like the same content strategy. So in your blog, that's one of the best things. One of the strategies that I use consistently, almost exclusively now, is we publish blog posts for clients. And as soon as a blog post is published, not always a 1-to-1 ratio, depending on what their budget is, but we will publish a press release to promote the blog post. So every time a new blog post gets published, we have a press release that links back to the blog post. So we're driving traffic from Press Advantage domain as well as a lot of you know, other news type sites. When it does get traffic, Press Advantage tends to drive, the domain itself tends to drive quite a bit of traffic, but that sends traffic to that newly published blog post. Plus it builds a bunch of links to that newly published blog post. So it's really, really good for building up the SEO value of your blog, as well as driving traffic to it, which is what your original question was, is how to get more traffic to the blog. So that's another great part of the strategy that we teach.
Yep.
So it was a great question. BB's up with a list of questions, just broken up this time a little bit. So BB, you're getting better. Hey guys, if I want to rank some Google property only, say a GDoc and a GSite, is it harder to rank GDocs than a GSite? I guess I haven't really set up any specific tests for that, but I tend to just focus on the GSite because it has a lot more functionality than a GDoc. I don't know if one is harder to rank than the other. What say you, Marco?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
GSite would rank better.
So let me see that again. If I want to rank some Google property only, the GSite, because the GSite is going to get all the power from the embeds. The doc might rank faster originally, right? Like at first, but then the GSite for sure will take over.
Yeah. Not only that, but the GSite will convert better, won't it?
The GSite will convert. Yeah. The docs, some of the docs will rank right away, but the GSite over time, it's so powerful, and you still get leads from that Virginia, right?
Yeah. You still occasionally, yeah.
So I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
Is it faster to rank Google properties than building a shield on a non-Google property? Of course it is. I mean, it's crazy because you can just here's the thing, even if you're trying to rank a non-Google property, like, so you got a self-hosted website is your main money site, you can still do all the same things to the SEO shield that you would if you made the Google site your primary money website. It doesn't really matter, like, because that's the whole point of the SEO shield, right? It's to create a shield around your money site. So all the things that you're going to do to that GSite, if the GSite was your primary money site, which will rank very quickly, you can still do all of that to the GSite as part of your SEO shield when you have a self-hosted money site, so a non-Google property money site, because you're not going to actually touch your non-Google property money site with anything other than the SEO shield. You're doing all your nastiness out to the actual SEO shield. So my point is, why not have both? Right. Unless it's just you don't want to go through the trouble of setting up a self-hosted website and all that other kind of stuff, which I understand that. So for example, for some lead gen assets, there's no reason to set up WordPress stuff. If you're just doing like single location lead gen assets and you're going to do a bunch of them, you can get away with 100% with just GMB assets and the SEO Shield assets. And you can use the GSite as your primary money site and the GMB website, the two of those kind of combined, and you'll do incredibly well that way. So again, but there, if you're going to be building a brand, there's, in my opinion, there's no reason not to create a money site, because you can still rank the GSite before the money site ever ranks and still get the benefit of it, but you're building that brand back to a domain that you have more control over. That's my take on it. What do you think?
You know, it's still a fact. Google will say no, but we see all these lawsuits, and we see all of these things where Google prefers Google over anything else, and we've proven it. It's not something that we're just saying, and it's not just us giving you theory and concepts and all of these ideas that are nothing. We're giving you facts. We're giving you something that we actually showed on a webinar, how Google trusts itself above anything else. And because it trusts itself over anything else, it passes PageRank to itself, and it ranks its properties over anybody else's. We see this time and again. So it stands to reason that if you build up your Google ecosystem, it's why we're in there in the first place. The whole idea to start with was Dr. Gary and I said, Google prefers itself over anything else. And we went from there. We set out, like that's the scientific method. You start out, you have a hypothesis, it's a sentence. Then you set out, you ask a question, does Google really prefer itself and why? And then you go out to prove it. And we did. And not only did we prove it, we showed it live. It's not as if we just go, we don't hide that. We showed it, how it is that Google prefers itself over anything else. So guys, understanding this, why are you not taking all of that power and using it? Use Google, was my original concept and idea. Use Google to rank in Google. What else needs to be said?
There you go. Next question. Say you are getting into a new niche. How do you determine the link building we should use? What is low, medium, hard competition? Which tool do you determine the competition? Well, I mean, for me, I use a number of different tools. So it really doesn't matter. Like I use, for bigger projects now, I'm using Digital Marketer Toolbox, which is Network Empire's tool. It's a bit expensive, but you can also use stuff like SEMrush and things. But honestly, what I do, just to be, what I do is I figure out how much relevancy I need to create with the on page, right? First, that's always what I do. Like, am I going to need a lot of content? Am I going to need to have proper, how much content do I think I'm going to need? So I always start with on page, but once I figure out what my plan is, what I think is going to meet and exceed whatever the competitors are in a particular space, then I set out to build that. As far as the link building and everything, I just go by with exactly what we always talk about here, which is I do a ton of content marketing from the site through the blog to a syndication network, total SEO shield built around everything. I do a lot of press releases, which always link back through the blog posts, mainly back to the site. So that's where I get most of my link building done. And besides link building directly to the SEO shield through MGYB. Now, for most projects that I'll start with a big link building package. So the competitive, what is it? The Nitro, I guess we call it the Nitro kit or the Nitro pack, link building, just to kind of seed everything right off the bat. But then I just get into a regular schedule of doing either embeds or link building or embeds plus link building. And I usually go with, just depending on how competitive it is. Most of the local stuff I'm in isn't super competitive. So I'll usually go with the starter kit link building package, or embeds plus link building to the embeds. And I'll just do that on a, monthly or sometimes even bi-monthly schedule, depending on whether, if I'm ranking really well or where I want to be, then there's no reason to just keep hammering away at it, except for maintenance link building, which is, like I said, might be once every 6 weeks or every 2 months or something like that. But how many links is it going to take? As many as it takes, right? so it's about the initial setup and everything, and waiting for that Google dance to stop, which sometimes goes on a lot longer. And I think that's the entity and Marco can speak to this, but I think it's Google trying to establish or understand the entity itself when you first set it up. Because I got a tree care project that I've been working on and sharing in the mastermind that's just taken a long, long time for me to establish the brand name, really solid. But I think I'm finally there with that particular thing. But what I'm saying is once you get past that, and it took like 10 weeks, it's been dancing a lot. But I've also been going really aggressive with the content marketing and link building through press releases and everything. So I think that's kind of prolonged the Google dance. My point is once you get past the initial Google dance, then it's a matter of just monitoring. I continually content market or, do content marketing, excuse me. So publishing content. But then it's just a matter of link building and embed to try to get the desired result that you want. I can't tell you which levels to use because I just told you my plan, which is just I come out swinging hard, come out with a lot right up front just to initially seed the whole ecosystem that I've built. And then from there, it's just more of an ongoing, the tortoise wins the race type thing where I just constantly publishing new content and constantly powering up the SEO shield in strategic locations to get the desired result. What do you say, Marco?
Oh man, I mean,
good question.
Yeah, it's an excellent question, but that's just how it is, isn't it? I'm not sure how much to add to that.
Okay, good enough. So we got another Marco on. He says, hey, I'll ask, will you guys be offering a coupon on National Pasta Day? Maybe lots of people will be looking forward to that too. Yeah, if we did it for Potato Day, we'll probably do it for Pasta Day as well. It's another reason, another excuse to send an email, right? Nigel says, hey,
back to that. Can you hang on a second? Because just to go back to that, on how to define the competition or how do you know, I use Jeffrey Smith's method. I look at competing pages, and it's pretty accurate. When you look that up in Google, right? When you Google it and you look at the results, that's usually a pretty good indication of what you're up against. So, I mean, if you don't have it, I suggest that you go for the Ultimate SEO Bootcamp, the best on-page training that there is. I don't care who says what.
I agree.
He rocks it. He kills it.
I agree. And I'm doing a lot of AdWords or Google ad stuff now too. A lot actually. And, that's something else that I determine what my SEO competition. It's not always the case, but in the local niches that I'm in, it's pretty accurate. If my cost per click for a particular keyword is quite high, and it changes by location too, right? Then I know that keyword's probably going to be a lot more competitive SEO wise as well. And I think that's only logical. And I don't know that that's universal across the board for all keywords. Some see maybe cost per click is very, very high, but the SEO isn't so competitive. I don't know. I'm just saying for tree service stuff, which is again, primarily almost all that I'm doing now. If I'm in an area, for example, I've got some lead gen stuff going on in Oklahoma City, for example, for tree service stuff, and in others in Fairfax, Virginia. Fairfax, Virginia, I might pay $35 per click for tree removal near me, but I might only pay $12 in Oklahoma City. So my point is the keywords, it doesn't necessarily mean that the SEO is going to be, 3 times harder in Fairfax, Virginia, as it would Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It just typically means that the higher the cost per click, what I've found is the more people that are bidding on those keywords are also paying for SEO. So it typically means you're dealing with more competition. And again, I don't know that that's universal across the board, but I found that to be the case for the niches that I'm in. Okay. Next is Nigel. What's up, Nigel? He says, hey, gents, you are the best. I wanted to give you money, but now I'm about to be potato paid. That said, I need help getting order in so I can over deliver for a new client. Just need some guidance on getting this order correct. Let me know your best route to do this right. Okay, so he must be, this is it down here. I'll come back to Ricky's comment here in a moment. He says, literally timing is perfect with this discount. Thanks, Bradley. I will also be taking you up on the Calendly booking we discussed weeks back, as I have been getting real referral interest from SEO for luxury real estate niche and believe the SEO shield is 100%. But I feel that I need to use this first experience to document the onboarding process and get the solid testimonials from my referral client and then have them as an ambassador, which is already working for other services. Yeah, that's fine. Nigel, I made that offer to you. It still stands. So whenever, if you've got the link, if not, just PM me in Facebook and I'll give it to you again. Whatever guidance you can give me or who to speak will help. I also will send you a quick video explaining if that's better. And just so you know, I did contact support first to ask, and they told me to reply before I asked, but didn't reply or hear back. Excuse me. Email could have went to spam or deemed such. Please let me know. Thanks, guys. Yeah, like I said, Nigel, I think we're connected in Facebook. Just reach out to me, PM. And I'll get something scheduled with you because I know I made that offer to you a few months ago. Okay. And you've been around for a long time. So no problem. Thanks. Ricky says, not a question, but when people ask my boss, how many does it take to do X? He would say 10 to the 12th. That basically means 10 to the 12th power, which is a trillion. He used to tell us it doesn't matter how many it takes. When it works, you'll know, but be prepared to do as much as it takes. The only time that question is relevant is if you don't believe in the strategy. If you know the strategy works, it doesn't matter how many it takes. We'll keep doing it until it works. That's a great way. That's a much more extended version of as many as it takes, but I like it. It's pretty good. We should copy that somewhere. All right. So Marco says, like, I understand little to none of what you're all talking about, but I think your free content could help and that your team seems pretty cool. Okay. Thanks, Marco. Appreciate that. Next, Ricky says, to be clear, we won't mind paying for the services. What was he asking about?
National Potato Day. But I don't know what he wants. I mean, we have training on the SEO Shield, right? The SEO Shield or the SEO Power Shield. I can't remember the name of the website. Rob put that up for free. It doesn't get any better than that. You can join Heavy Hitter, the free section. Tons of resources in there, man. Tons of free resources for you guys. The free SEO group, this group. Yeah. We have tons of stuff for you guys.
So you can go to heavyhitter.club/SEO Shield, or just go to, because he set up a redirect, theseoshield.com. And I'll just put both of these on a notepad file so you can see them on screen. The other one would be HTTP. Oops, that's too many. And it was the SEOshield.com. Okay. So if you go to either one of those guys, specifically Marco on who was asking the question, then you can download or opt in or whatever for SEO Shield training, which will explain to you what it is, why it works, and you know, where to get it and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So those are our methods. Oh, by the way, you can also go here. I still didn't get the damn silo training done because I had another project pop up in the past week that I had to attend to. But if you go to semanticmastery.com/process, you can learn much more about, these are the training videos that I did specifically for the semantic mastery process, which is what the SEO Shield is built around, and all the different components and why we do what we do. Doesn't give you the how, it gives you the why. If you want the how, I point you in where to find out the how, you know, where to purchase the training products or join our mastermind, that kind of stuff, to where you can get the how, or you can just go, or we point you just to go get it done. It's MGYB, so that you can spend your time building your business and generating more revenue instead of doing the execution of these processes. If that makes sense. So any of these right here will help you to get a much better understanding of what it is that we're talking about. Okay. All right, we're going to keep moving. With their blog subdomain site, should we do the shield that the blog, should we do the shield to that blog subdomain or to the main domain? Well, it depends. Both.
The
right?
brand.
The brand, period. Right. Which
the brand. You build out the brand. The subdomain is a part of the brand.
That's right. So
you can't separate that. You can't separate that. You just have to do it right. You have to connect one to the other.
That's right.
You can't disconnect. There's not a disconnect. There's not a separation. You have the parent. It has a child. The child is the subdomain. The child has a parent. It's the main domain.
That's right. So again, your primary URL, in this case, I would make it the root domain, but you would include the blog URL in the build, right? Just like you would your syndication network properties, so that that's also being included with all of your drive stack files that are being created, your GSite, everything. So your blog's going to be constantly linked to, and you remember from your primary root, you're going to have a link to your blog. So you're going to be transferring power through that anyways, back to your blog. But just remember, in my opinion, your primary domain, your root domain, should be your primary asset for the SEO Shield. But you include the blog subdomain URL in the additional URLs that you're going to submit with the order, like your syndication network properties, for example. Okay. So there you go. Aaron says, arrived late and need some advice. One of my main competitors is using a location that he does not occupy. The property sold last week and he was never located there. Is there something I should or could do about this? Thanks. Yeah, just out SEO him. uh, that's what I would say. I mean, I know there are people that will tell you that, yeah, you can report that and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. I just think it's bad karma. I understand even if they're spamming and they got, you know, they're winning, just outperform them. And that's just, I don't do negative SEO. I don't report shit like that. I just don't do it. It's up to you whether you want to. You certainly can go that route. I just don't like to do it because, you know, what goes around comes around, and I would hate for somebody to do that. And I've had it done and I don't like it. So I wouldn't want to do it to somebody else. That's just my opinion. Any comment?
No, I agree. Outpower them. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's what we did with this guy, the new client that I took on. Exactly what we did. We just blasted him out of the water, man. Now we're after first place for the keywords. He had the knowledge panel, no longer got the knowledge panel. That's the type of thing you do. You don't go negative, just hit it harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Austin says, I'm in a heavy hitter club. If I join the mastermind, is there a discount for either one? Yes. As far as well, yes. If you're in both, there's a discount, right, Marco?
If you join the mastermind, we will give you a steep discount for as long as you're a mastermind member. If you leave the mastermind, then heavy hitter goes to regular price. You can only have the discounted price in heavy hitter if you're still in mastermind.
There you go. Austin Dawn, I've been trying to talk you into joining the mastermind for some time because I know you're in the real estate industry as well. So Jason says, again, hi guys, I look forward to working with you all in the mastermind group. I need to order the keywords and the shield package as soon as possible. And do it, Jason. Order the damn thing. And yeah, if you got any questions, Jason, the mastermind, you get a hell of a lot more access to us there. There's no doubt. And as I we talked about, I think I talked to you on the phone last week, actually. Remember to use the question form in the mastermind. You'll know where it is because it's in the mastermind. If not, just post a question. I'll send the link to you in the mastermind. But yeah, make sure you use that too, because we'll do deep dives in the webinars for whatever it is that you want to discuss, have us look at, have us, analyze, whatever it is you want to talk about. We do that stuff in the mastermind. So look forward to working with you as well. We're almost out of time. We got a couple more. Next is, hey fellas, what sort of value do you see in a set of Twitter, Facebook accounts in the geographic area of my client that are used via IFTTT to retweet, share items coming from that client and probably other area businesses so as not to look suspicious? Yeah, I mean, it may help. I don't know. I just don't go through all that trouble. It may. I think social signals from real accounts where there's real activity that generate traffic, so click-throughs back to the target URL, not just these. I don't think just the sharing. I don't know. I haven't done any testing on this, like specific testing on social signals in several years now, many years now, probably 5 years. But traffic, referral traffic from social networks is very powerful for SEO. So if you had real people engaging with those profiles or pages or whatever it is that you're trying to set up on them social accounts, where there's real people engaging with that, even if it was automated on your end, but other people were engaging with the automated content, which can happen. And then they were actually clicking through to some of the posts that were being shared to those, the links that were being shared and that kind of stuff. That can have an absolute effect. There's no question. I don't know, and I may be wrong, but I don't know that just social signals in and of themselves produce any results anymore towards SEO at all. But real active engaged accounts that share URLs on those accounts will get clicks from real people, and that does help because it's referral traffic. So I don't know. Do you have any different data than that, Marco?
No, I don't.
So it depends on what you're doing then, really. I mean, if you like, here's an example. We were talking about with Damon Nelson's RSS Smasher technology, which can build these beautiful automated auto blog type sites that will start to generate real traffic, because a lot of them are like news sites. And we've got something that, we're working with somebody that we're going to be bringing, perhaps bringing to you guys' attention in the coming weeks or months. We're starting to test with it now, actually, but it's something very similar, or where RSS Smasher could complement it. But my point is creating like these traffic generating sites that have relevant content, either by topic or by location, that can be used to drive real traffic back to, our own properties, our own assets that we're trying to rank, or clients or whatever. And, if you have built these sites that start to generate traffic and they start pushing clicks, then that's very valuable. So it's the same thing with social media accounts. Even if you automate it in some way, shape, or form, as long as people are engaging with the content that is being generated by that profile or that page or that account, whatever, then I think there's value to it. But it's, how much trouble going through to set all that up. That's why I typically just don't do it. Okay.
Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Google said that it doesn't take a look at social signals. Okay. And this is where we have to separate the bullshit from what's fact. What are they really saying? It could be true that they don't pay attention to the social signal itself, or a social signal as whatever that concept could possibly mean. What Google pays attention to is a link, because guess what? Everything in Google, the foundational principles in Google are links. Everything is built around links. The bot cannot get the variables that it needs for the algorithms unless it travels, and travel in quotes, unless it goes through a link from one server to another. That's what's happening, guys. Let's look at this the way that you're supposed to look at it. Let's look at this as I always tell people, scientists, and what's actually happening. Google is sending a signal from its server to another server through a link, a hyperlink. It's an HTML hyperlink. It's going through an IP, whatever it's going through. It's going to that server, and it's looking for something specific. It could be that it's going to a social media property, whatever the hell it is that it's going to. It's been coded to pick up, let's not call it signals. Let's call it donuts. It's been coded to pick up donuts through those links. And it's been coded to look at brown donuts, white donuts, jelly donuts, whatever, chocolate covered donuts, whatever you want to call it. All right. And if it finds those, it brings them back and tells Google, hey, I found, and fills in on the variables, hey, I found these. Now let's go back. Instead of donuts, let's just call it, they looked at the link and they saw a person click on the link. The person clicked on the link and they went to your website. They went to your Google's following this. They went to your website and they filled out a contact form. You think that isn't going to trigger any part of Google at all? You think that's not going to matter? Call it whatever you want. Call it fuck Google, like I always say. Right? Might as well say it. Say it. Call it what you want. But Google is seeing that whole client transaction from beginning to end. And do you really think that doesn't make a difference when Google sees that transaction take place from beginning to end? Looking at everything, especially in YouTube and in Google Ads, because we know that Google pays special attention to the people that they send you. Do you really believe that these don't matter? Call it what you want. Let's not call it social signal. Call it anything you want. We know from our testing, from everything we do, from everything that we've been covering, from all of our client work, from all of our businesses, guys, you got to understand that we're not just semantic mastery. Like Marco isn't just semantic mastery. I have businesses. I have other businesses that I run. I have clients that I work with. I have so many other things that I'm into. I don't know how I have time in the day to do them all. But this is semantic mastery is just a small part of what I do. But everything that we show in semantic mastery, everything that we give you, Hump Day Hangouts, Heavy Hitter Club, the free SEO group and Facebook, every bit of information that we share has been tested, because I'm not going to risk my businesses. I am not going to risk my clients' businesses on theory. We go, we set up the theory, we formulate the hypothesis, we ask the question, we go out and we use the scientific method. It's very simple. And then we bring back the information that we say, we know that Google is tracking that person. Why in the world would there be a pixel otherwise?
Sweet. All right, so the last is not really a, well, I guess it is a question. Aaron comes back, is replying to his previous comment about a competitor, not trying to be whiny, but when people are deceptive, it makes it bad for all of us. If a business doesn't have a real address, shouldn't they be an SAB? Yeah, no, I agree, Aaron. And here's the thing. If you're talking about a storefront type of business that is using a fake address, then I wouldn't, I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but I would think that it would get reported by a pissed off customer who went to Google Maps to try to go to the storefront business and they go to a building that's empty, if that makes sense. So I've always talked about, if you're going to do spammed Google Maps listings, that you should only be doing service area address type, or excuse me, service area business type of Google Maps listings, because, you know, like a contractor, a plumber that goes to other people's, you know, to people's homes or build or offices or whatever to do plumbing work, they can hide their address. So nobody's going to be clicking driving directions. So I don't know, Aaron, if you're talking about a service area type of business where customers should be going to the location, then I would expect it to be terminated rather quickly, because people, pissed off customers would report it. Unless it's one of those odd situations where it can be a service area business and a local business or storefront business. And then if that's the case where primarily it's a service area business, then that, you know, might be able to get away with it. So I don't know. Again, I still don't do it. I still don't report other listings. I don't negative SEO. I just don't do it. Again, to me, it's a karma thing, and I just don't want to invite that into my life. Even though I've had it happen to me in the past, I've never felt vengeful enough to want to do it to others. That's just my opinion. So again, you're entitled to yours, and I'm not knocking you for saying that you want to report it. Fucking report it then. You know, that's on you, buddy. And I'm not knocking you for it. I'm just telling you I wouldn't want to do it myself. That's all I'm saying. Any follow-up comments to that, Marco?
Karma's a bitch. Call it what you will. Anything that you do can and will come back to man. Look, go and power up your shit. That's my recommendation. You do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, you're a grown person. I can't tell you what to do. But I definitely would not report shit. I would just go get rid of it. Outpower. That's what you do. Not negative.
Yeah.
Never, ever. I've never, ever done. I've come really close.
So
Someone pissed me off that much where I was gonna blast him and make him appear for like some porn term. But then you take a breath and you say, okay, it's okay. Let's just move on and make money.
Yeah, I agree.
All of that energy can be spent making money.
So again, Aaron, good questions. But yeah, you know, you could encourage a pissed off customer to report them. I don't know. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all next week. We appreciate everybody being here. And don't forget, the Potato My Rankings is your coupon code for SEO Shield for 25% off. It's only, I think, for the next 2 or 3 days. So take advantage of it while you can. See you guys.
All right. Later.